third and final topic of our conversation is on Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. If you guys don't know who Ronda Rousey is by any chance, she is the UFC Women's Champion. She's extremely dominant, where most people are questioning whether she can even fight men. She is, and she's basically everywhere. She's going into movies now. She's just blowing up all over the place. So, what do you think of her?
I think Ronda Rousey is a freak of an athlete. It seems like she's getting better and better with each bout. I actually don't care for women's sports. I'll just throw it out there. I really don't. Well, you know.
But do you like watching her fight?
I do. It's really exciting. I just can't believe how far advanced she is than any other women's fighter. It's just incredible, the skill, that the technique that she has, and the willpower. But she's also a real woman. You can tell she's very passionate about MMA, and she has real emotions. You don't see that from guys usually. She brings out the emotional aspect out into the public eye, where she was talking about how her prior opponent mentioned how pretty much was making fun of suicide, and her father committed suicide, and she was very upset by it. But you just you don't hear these type of occurrences, whether it's from men or women. It's just usually the focus is on the sport itself and the performance, and what she's going to do, or what they're going to do next. But she's very dynamic, and I can tell that this is who she is. She's a real person. It's not a facade. And I really do think she's great. She's just
okay,
unbelievable athlete.
What kind of effect do you think she's going to have on women's sports in general, or maybe just even MMA?
Well, she
what kind of
has.
effect?
She already has a huge effect.
Aside from what she's already done, I'm saying, what kind of effect do you think is like in the long term? What kind of effect do you think?
Well, if she retires undefeated, I think her effect is going to be legendary. I think even now young girls want to be like her. They mimic her, and they think of her as an idol. Even in MMA, where the sport is so premature. Mm-hmm. It's nowhere near to where boxing is, or any other major league sport. So I think girls, especially, maybe some women too, they look up to her, but they also see the character in Ronda Rousey, and that's what I see from her as a fighter that I don't see from any other fighter in MMA today. You see the emotional side. You see the drive. You see the perseverance. She's not only is she physically driven, she's emotionally driven, and it doesn't matter what stands in front of her. It seems like that she's somehow going to overcome that obstacle.
So what I'm getting is you like her, and she fits your 60-40. I'm guessing she's in the 40, right?
60-40, I'll say she's in the 40. I mean,
right, that's what I just said.
Well, maybe if she was in the 60, maybe I wouldn't be talking about her the same. But it's kind of hard for me to say that.
So
but
do you think
she's a pretty woman? But
do you think she would have had the same impact if she wasn't as beautiful as she is?
I don't think so. I really don't. I think that looks play a big part in sports and politics, in Hollywood. If you're more, you easily want to relate to someone that is more attractive than as opposed to someone that is less attractive.
But it seems like that's more for women than it is for men, because if for men you want to be fearsome, it seems like. I mean, you look at some of the best and biggest fighters of all time, they were not necessarily the prettiest of men. I mean, Mike Tyson is not a horrible looking guy, but he's a guy who literally you look at, and especially he gets in the ring, most guys pee their pants, and that's sort of the intimidation factor. Whereas for women, and I have this feeling when I watch Ronda Rousey fight, it's a really weird feeling that I've never thought I would have, which is I'm watching the fight and I'm sort of hoping that she doesn't get hurt. And I've been watching boxing and been watching MMA for a long time at this point, and I've never had that feeling for any other fighter except her. She's the one. She's the one that, to me, I watch her in a different way. And I think it's because she's a woman.
Oh, I'm sure you watch her in a different way. And I'm hoping, well, it's your business whether you go to the bathroom after that or not. That's your business. But
I don't know what you're implying, but
I think you do. I think you
amazing.
Do. Well, she's amazing, but let's not degrade her by saying that she's just a sexual object, because I don't think
we ever did.
Well, I don't know. They just
degrade her. I was saying that I wouldn't want her getting hurt, because, like, literally, and this is not something that I'm actually thinking just like that. I'm like, this is just all of a sudden I noticed that I'm kind of like hesitant, because when somebody throws a punch at her or something, because I'm sort of like, whoa, like, and it's because naturally I'm like, she's a woman, so that's the reason. It's not because she looks good, it's because of
the fact that she's a woman.
A woman, yeah, absolutely.
And she looks good. No. She's your type.
No.
And you would want for her to be your girlfriend.
I don't know if she could be my type.
And you would want for her to be your girlfriend. Let's just.
All right. Actually, I would absolutely would, but no, you can't say. I don't know if I could say she's my type, because I've never dated a woman that's like her. So it's very hard for me to actually think that way. But she's absolutely beautiful, and absolutely what I would want her to be my girlfriend.
She can take you down at any point of time.
Absolutely.
And
I wouldn't struggle at all.
You wouldn't struggle. That's true. You would not struggle. You could try to struggle.
You probably. I could see you struggling, but I think you would probably try to play hard to get. But eventually, she will break you.
I believe that she probably will break me one way or another.
Okay.
I'll be broken.
Okay. Aside from the jokes, do you think at this point she's had an influence on the sport where they're going to basically make a separate organization just for women and not combine the women and men fights?
No, I don't think that's such a good idea. For example, the
Well, maybe not right now necessarily, just because they don't have as many women.
No.
But if it starts growing more and more, can they really have 50-50 women and 50-50 men?
No, I don't think so. Like I said before, women and men will never be equal. Okay.
Well, it has nothing to do with that.
Well, I think it kind of does, because women are not sport oriented in majority of the time.
But we're not comparing.
Men are not going to be watching women.
We're not comparing a woman going up against a man here. What we're talking about simply is that if a woman competes versus a woman, and right now she's able to sell out her own mega fights, and there's another woman in another division, and she's doing pretty well for herself, where people want to see her fight as well. To say that somehow equality where men are stronger than women or anything like that, I don't know how that even plays into it.
I'm not talking about the strength factor. Let me go back to my example about the WNBA. When the NBA decided to create the WNBA, they thought that the WNBA was going to be much more successful than it is now. It's just not doing as well, or even close to as well, as the NBA. And you can try to figure out for yourself the reason why. Why isn't it doing as well
as
simple.
the NBA?
Hold on.
Before you go
Women don't watch sports. Men do not want to watch women that look like men fight.
Okay,
It's
hold
a
on,
reality.
hold on. Before you go, you basically gave a theory as to why WNBA isn't doing as well as NBA. The one thing is, first of all, when NBA started originally, it wasn't doing well. No sport, when it starts, does well. So how will the WNBA be 50 years from now? Now that's a better question. And if it's still doing the same thing as it is now,
things change.
then
You're absolutely right.
But that's the thing. How can you possibly compare WNBA to NBA when NBA has been around for what, 60, 70 years now at this point? The idea to compare is just, it's ridiculous. Why would you even do that? They're completely separate.
Going back to my point, and I see what you're saying. You make sense in that. But we're talking about women here, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you. Do you watch the WNBA?
No, I don't.
Why don't you watch the WNBA?
It just started. I don't care about it, and I watch the regular NBA.
Honestly, why don't you watch the WNBA?
You basically want me to say
no. I'm asking you.
They're women.
I'm asking you.
No, you're
in reality. So it has nothing to do with it.
It's not because I have no connection to them. It's a new sport. Like, I have literally no connection. If for example, there was a Ronda Rousey in there where I was like, wow, this woman, she's doing a 360 dunk. I'm like, I might check her out more often. I might get into it. I'm like, that's the team. Like, I might not know any other team, but I'm like, that's the team that she's in. So if you're really asking me that, that's the reason. It's a new sport. It's going to grow little by little. It will, the same way as NBA did, and it will have its Magic Johnson, will have its Michael Jordan, and will have those stars that will transcend the sport. But it needs time. The idea, whoever thought, and if anyone ever thought that WNBA is going to come out because NBA already exists, WNBA is going to be just as big, they're crazy. There's really no reason to ever think that. It's a new sport. Doesn't matter. Like, if there was a competition even to a competitor, not competition, but if there was a competitor to NBA right now, they came out and said, we're going to have 26 teams, we're going to have really great players, trust us, watch us. I wouldn't watch that because I have no connection to it. I'd still continue watching the NBA. They have the best players, and I know those teams, and I've been invested for so long, so I wouldn't watch the competitor for NBA. That's the same reason.
Well, I don't know. I think you're in the minority. Okay.
You think there would be other people who would? A competitor to NBA would be as big right away?
I'm not saying that. Well, all I'm saying is I think men do not want to watch women play sports unless the women are sexy. Just being honest, it is what it is. But at the same token, the other half of the population, women, don't want to watch sports.
Right, but isn't it?
There's a huge problem here.
But don't you think it's because it hasn't been something that's around for them? Don't you think that if it was, meaning if women are born with women playing sports all the time, and there's like all these leagues and all that kind of stuff, don't you think that women would be like, you know what, I do want to watch women play sports?
I disagree. I really don't think so. Yet again, can that change? Sure. Will that change? Maybe.
I think the only way you could possibly compare WNBA to NBA is if you wait 50 years and compare it to where NBA was 50 years before that.
Let's wait for 50 years and come back and let's talk about it.
Let's just say I was right and you were wrong.
I will not say that. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Well, you can be surprised.
No, I'm surprised that you wouldn't admit that.
Well, you can be surprised.
Yeah, I am. Anyways. So,
but wait a second. We'll continue on the conversation about Ronda Rousey. What do you think? Do you think that she's going to meet her match?
Her match is waiting for her, and that's with Cyborg. Cyborg is the woman that's standing in front. I mean, when people
is she really a woman?
That's a hard question to answer. I mean, with so much that she's been caught with already. And the fact she definitely looks more masculine than anything, and her voice sounds masculine because of all the testosterone she's taken. So at this point, I don't know. I mean, she's, actually, I'm sure on paper she is, but I think her body structure has changed so much at this point.
Can we test her to see if she has testicles?
Well, you can. I'm sure they will allow you.
If I could do it, I'll do it.
I'm sure you could. By the way, you could be a official ball checker for the MMA if you want.
Well, on the women's side, not on the men's side, because
no.
I'm sure.
You gotta check. You gotta check. You gotta check both things. You gotta check both things.
What woman would go into MMA to fight men as a man? I don't know.
The woman that's really trying, a feminist,
Cyborg,
a true feminist will do it. Okay, feminist, if you're listening out there, that's exactly what you need to do. Join MMA, and then prove to men that you're just as physically as strong.
That's true, I have to say. But by the way, also, if you're a feminist and you believe in the feminist movement, going back to that, because you made that statement, I will debate you any day of the week. Okay, you name it, I'm there. And let's see who wins. But I know you don't have the...
Debate me in what?
I know you have balls.
Wait, I missed. Debate me in what?
I'll debate a feminist in her own organization as to the issues that they're supposedly fighting for equality for women in the United States. I know you have the balls, but I don't think you're going to use them against me. So, but anyway, let's go back to the original topic.
Okay. You know what? Let's do this. Let's focus on what people have been asking for a while now, and that's about Ronda Rousey, and that is, can she really compete? I mean, she's so high above every woman that's out there, it's almost scary. But can she compete with a man? If there's a man who's in her weight class, can she really compete with? Let's not say necessarily the champion in that weight class, but can she compete with an average MMA fighter in the UFC in her weight class? Can she compete with him and potentially beat him, or would it be a slaughter because he would just be physically stronger than her?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know. If I were to select a fighter that is averaged against her, I could probably tell you, more definitively if I do that. If it's just some random average guy fighter that has a really shitty record, and he's going up against Ronda Rousey, I mean, I probably would choose him over her, but I'm just being biased because I'm a guy. Let's just put it that way.
You finally admitted it.
Let's just make it the way it is, I don't see her beating him just based off of that. Now, if it's based off of skills and strength, but, to tell the truth, Ronda Rousey is improving her skills, but at the same token, she has bad knees and she has bad hands. So,
but you never see that during fights. She fights through whatever if she's feeling pain, she's fighting through it.
She fights through women throwing punches at her that are not landing. But
men would try to do the same.
True, but what I'm trying to get at is one hit from a guy could potentially take her out. We don't know how.
But what she does, remember this. What she does, I've seen basically all her fights at this point, and the one thing that she does is she doesn't really allow people to throw punches at her. I mean, she's exceptionally good at coming close to you and then taking you down. Now, she's faced Olympian level female woman fighter, whatever you want to call her, and there was no contest even there. So, and the thing is, the way she beats everyone is to such a high degree that I have to, in terms of strength, I don't think she's going to be able to match up well. But in terms of pure skill, I think she's going to be able to submit guys. And again, this is not the perfect example of things, but there's a video on YouTube. You could easily find it where she's rolling around with Luke Rockhold, who's actually fighting for the championship in the middleweight division, which is like a good 30 pounds over her, maybe even more than that. And they were testing out, and basically they were in an armbar situation where she was doing everything she could to submit him, and he was doing everything, using both of his hands to try to get her not to submit her, and he couldn't. With all his strength, with all the weight that he has over her, he wasn't able to do that. And she trains, remember this, she trains, if you guys know these guys, she trains with the Nick Diaz boys, well, the Diaz boys, I should say, and she's good. So I think that there's a really good chance that she can handle a guy in the division. I don't think she can handle the champion. I don't think she can handle any of the guys in the top 10, but I think she can handle pretty much every other guy below that.
I'll tell you this. She can probably take Mayweather. But yet again, he's not a MMA practitioner.
Right.
So pretty much anyone who's an MMA practitioner can take Mayweather. So
right.
I mean, that doesn't say much.
Right. Well, yeah, absolutely. If they're in a boxing ring, she gets killed in there, basically. If they're in a MMA match, she just literally runs up to him. He could run, he could duck as much as he wants at first, but she will take him down, and on the ground, it's not even a contest.
But why would you want to hurt such a pretty face?
Well, he's done it before.
He's hurt whose pretty face?
Like the woman that he dated or something, or his wife. He's been in jail for like wife beating and stuff. Like actually wife beating.
That's true.
So I mean, he's already had practice with women.
That's true. That's a little messed up, but I mean, I don't know too much about that. I'm not gonna go into it, but I see your point.
No, I mean, he served his time. I don't know if he denied it.
He did the crime, and he served his time.
Right.
But that's kind of irrelevant. I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know if I would fight a woman. Even if we're matched,
fight a woman?
I don't know if I would fight a woman.
Well, I think most men are in that category in terms of they wouldn't fight a woman.
But if she...
We're not talking about like, let's pick a man and let's tell him to fight her. We're basically talking if it's possible for that. If in a fair fight, could a man beat her? That's in that certain category.
But it's interesting. If a woman beats a man, then he's a wimp.
Yes.
Right? But if a man beats a woman, then pretty much, that's expected. He's a man.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, again,
there's always that double standard.
But that's the traditional way of thinking. That I mean, women traditionally do not fight. So for that reason, if you're a man and you hurt a woman, you hurt a woman. Doesn't matter what the situation was, you hurt a woman. And if she hurts you, then a woman doesn't fight. How could she possibly hurt you? And obviously, there's definitely a double standard going on there. But it is what it is, and it is changing. So women, seems like are learning more. And I don't know how much Ronda Rousey was influencing that, but there's that.
So finalizing this conversation, do you believe that Ronda Rousey, if she fights Cyborg, that she's going to beat her?
Oh, that's a good question. I think she will. I personally think she has the skills, whereas the Cyborg lady has the strength. And I think that she's just not going to give her a chance to really utilize her strength, where she's going to ground and pound. I think she's going to just take her and submit her very quick.
Let's make this scenario where, let's say Cyborg beats her.
Okay.
And then after the fight, maybe a month or so later, the results come out, or there's some video posted on YouTube where, it shows that she has, a penis and balls, and, she's really...
Is this after you checked, or is this before you checked?
Well, let's just say I did not check. Let's
okay,
just say
all right, okay, so
fine.
You weren't the checker then.
Let's
okay, got it.
Let's just say she paid me off. Okay?
Paid you off. Okay.
Paid me off not to check her.
All right, okay.
So, I have no clue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And turns out that she's actually a guy now.
Okay.
I mean, is it legitimate victory?
No, of course not. Of course not. You have to... I mean, she is fighting for the women's... welterweight belt or something. So, it's the women's division.
No, I think it's bantamweight.
Okay, bantamweight. Whatever it is. If you're fighting for the woman's belt and you're not a woman, then obviously should absolutely not count. That would be ridiculous if they go, oh, well, you know what? You sort of look like a woman at a point.
Well, see, there you go, Ronda Rousey. This is your excuse, and you've been using it either way,
right,
without our creativity.
There you go.
So she has balls and she has a dick.
Well, okay. Until Vadim checks.
That's true. I may check, but if I get paid off, then you won't know about it.
All right. Well, guys, thank you for joining us. This was our first podcast. Again, I'm Alex. This is Vadim, and we'll see you guys later.